Welcome back to Second Star to the Left. I'm Michelle, and this is my daughter Billy.
Hi.
And here's where we'll share board game reviews, ramblings, and a few wrong turns along the scenic route. We're down at the shore this week, and we still wanted to do something fun, so I'm headed back to the beach house, but hopefully, if all the editing goes right, you'll be watching our top 5 ocean-themed games now. This top 5 is inspired by the fact that we aren't actually here right now. We are hopefully on our yearly vacation to the shore. Yeah, we live in New Jersey, so we call it the shore. This part will be short and sweet, and hopefully there'll be some fun things added from the beach while we're there. And if not, you'll be seeing this with a much sadder intro. We made a list of the 9 ocean-themed games that we own, and through the 7 we've actually played, into Pub Meeple to rank. That's right, we're actually ranking them. Well, I mean, Pub Meeple did, and Pub Meeple wouldn't lie to us, right? I will say that Billy and I disagree on 2 of the games and that I think they should be swapped on the list, but let's get to it. At number 5, we have New Bedford. This is a little game that we talked about a bit during our Kickstarter video, designed by Nathaniel Levin with art by Nolan Nasser and Jorge Ramos and published by Dice Hate Me Studio. It's a tile placement, city building, resource management game where you're building up this New England town of New Bedford. You buy supplies, you construct buildings, build boats, go fishing, and even whaling. To see what your catch is, you're pulling tiles randomly from a bag. Sometimes it's something good to sell at the market, and sometimes you don't catch anything at all. Kind of wish it wasn't whaling, but it is a game about a historic New England town. And it's also one of the first Kickstarters we backed, so we have a bit of nostalgia. And we should really play this more. Worth a look if you could find a copy. At number 4, we have Fleet the Dice Game, designed by Ben Pinchback and Matt Riddle, with art by Marius Yosannis and Nolan Nasser, published by Eagle Griffin Games. I don't think I noticed that Nolan Nasser was the artist on both New Bedford and Fleet until we made this list. Apparently, we really like his art. This is the game that I would swap with another game on this list. For me, this game is much, much higher, but since Billy hasn't played it, she really couldn't rank it, and that's why she's wrong. Funny story about this game, I got it the year it came out, so 2018, and I was really excited to play it because I heard that it was a great, complex roll and write. Turns out I wasn't ready for a complex roll and write. I couldn't really figure it out. You play against a solo opponent, Captain Ruth, and I had trouble keeping her turns straight from my turns and just making any decent choices. This was actually the first roll and write I purchased. And about a year ago, I dragged it out again, and it is now one of my top 5 solo games to play. I love the choices and the combos. There are so many combos once you get rolling. I just laminated my sheets so I can just keep playing anytime. It's definitely a complex roll and write with 2 pages of choices that include obtaining boats, fishing licenses, going to the market, fulfilling contracts. Each choice links to another choice while you draft dice to fill in your sheet. The dice drafting works well even in the solo game, with Captain Ruth sometimes taking the dice you want, or if you get the dice you want, you might be leaving some for her that would block your next move. The solo version also shortens the game from 10 rounds to 8, making every single choice much more important. Every die that you draft, every circle you fill in on that sheet could be the one decision that loses or wins you this game. And not only is this one of my top solo games, it's also one of my top roll and writes. It might be number 2. And it deserves to be much higher on this list. No.
Clearly, if I haven't played it, it must be terrible.
Our number 3 is Atlantis Rising, designed by Galen Cicel and Brent Dickman, with art by Vincent Dutray and published by Elf Creek Games. It's not upside down, right? Okay. We talked about this game a bit in our August wrap-up, and this game is quickly rising, or sinking as it were, to the top of our list. A co-op worker placement game where you're building a cosmic gate to save your people as the waters rise and Atlantis sinks. Quickly. So much more quickly than you think it will, and then a little bit quicker. You're placing your workers for resources because that spot might not exist at all anymore on your next turn. As the water rises, every resource gets that much harder to come by. It doesn't feel like you'll figure out the puzzle of this game and be able to just beat it every time. The misfortune deck is always changing. The wrath of the gods increases how quickly the water rises. Your characters each have a unique ability to help you through this, and you can change characters which each game. It plays at 1 to 7 players, and there was very little quarterbacking. It's a genuinely co-op effort to save the island. You're flipping over the pieces of the terrain from land to rising water, and the art does such a great job at conveying that and that sense of impending danger. Looking forward to playing more challenging levels and playing it at a higher player count. Maybe even solo, though. Who knows? Our number 2, everyone's favorite piratey trick-taking game, Skull King, designed by Brent and Jeffrey Beck, art by David Beck and April Stott, and it's published by Grandpa Beck's Games. Coming from a long line of Pinnacle players, trick-taking games are always favorites here. Skull King adds a lot of twists and turns, but it does keep the core of a trick-taking game. It was a little hard to adjust to the structure of increasing hands of cards, because you start with just 1 card in the first round, bidding to see who will win the trick, and then you increase your hand by 1 card all the way up to 10.
I really liked it, though.
Bidding turns into a bit of a game of chicken, seeing who's the most confident and who would rather sit back and undermine everyone else's plans. We go all in, play with the Kraken, the whale, the mermaids. Why not? I think it says a lot that one of my favorite parts of this game is watching someone thwack down a card with a confident smirk, and then we get to swoop in and steal that trick right out from under them. That's also the part that's the hardest to adjust to if you're used to planning out your hand, like in Pinnacle or a more traditional trick-taking game. There's a lot of swinginess there and in the scoring, but it's definitely worth the adjustment. I had a lot of luck teaching this game to non-gaming family who just like trick-taking games, and it's been a hit every time we played. Like I said, it's so much fun to watch someone's face when they think they've thrown just the perfect card, and then you swoop in and thwart their plans. But, that might be just us. Looking forward to sharing this with the rest of my extended family soon. I think they're going to love it as well. Before we get to number 1, there are 4 more ocean games in our collection. 2 that just didn't make it to the top 5 list, but are still great games. Those are Harbor and Treasure Island. Very different styles of games. And there are 2 that didn't make the list just because they're still sitting over there on the unplayed games shelf. Those are Tiny Epic Pirates and Survive Escape from Atlantis. Hopefully, by the time you're watching this, we will have played at least one of those at the beach house, where we are right now. But for now, they don't get to make the list. Our number 1 is Oceans, designed by Nick Bentley, Dominic Krupushitz, Ben Goldman, and Brian O'Neill, with art by James Ducos and Catherine Hamilton, published by North Star Games. This is the follow-up game to one of our favorites, Evolution. We backed Evolution on Kickstarter and have gotten every expansion as it's come out. Climate is a game changer, and we wouldn't go back to playing without it. But Oceans smooths out some of the wrinkles that still existed in Evolution. For me, it also takes away some of the quirky charm. It's a decent trade-off, but I don't think Oceans replaces
You're wrong.
Evolution for us. During the first half of this game, you're building up your species using traits from a deck of cards to modify them, making sure you have enough food that you don't wind up being food. During the second half of the game, scarier fish from the deep disrupt the ecosystem that you've built.
I think that the deep makes it a sufficiently different experience from the original evolution that they both have a place on our shelves.
I'll give them both a place. I just think...
I also prefer oceans.
Okay. Well, that's because you're wrong. There are some cards that fit right in with Spooky Month in the deep.
Something I really like about both this game and the original evolution are at the end of the game just looking at the species you've built and imagining the ecosystem they live in and what it all looks like and what they look like.
And see what kind of fish you've created or killed off.
Frankenfish.
Yeah, and sometimes I just like to look through the cards. They're just really pretty.
The art's gorgeous.
Yeah. So this is our number one ocean-themed game. Well, no, it's Billy's number one ocean-themed game. I would have put Fleet the Dice Game here, but until Billy plays it, she'll never know the error of her ways. But we need to trust in the power of Pub Meeple rankings, right?
The internet never lies.
No, it doesn't. Thanks for watching. If you like what you see,
Or if you want to keep watching until we get one right,
then please like, subscribe, and share. You can follow us on social media at Second Star to the Left, and all the links will be down below. As always, open tables, open minds, and play yourselves. Let's go to the beach. No.
Now you just looked dumb.
Oceans, designed by Nick Bentley, Dominic Harpshushens. Okay, ready? I'm gonna put that in.
that wasn't on purpose. My brain melted.
Nothing, you got nothing to say. It's your favorite game and you got nothing to
I
say.
said it. You cut it.
Do better.